Hi, I'm Tim, I'm a junior doctor, and I was privileged to be part of the Bleep team. The other members will introduce themselves. We don't unfortunately have Francis here today. It was his birthday last night, and he can't be here on medical grounds, I'm afraid. And we're also missing Jeff Hall, who was another clinician, a consultant oncologist who had a lot of input to it's broadly two problems. We sort of combined to make a Bleep team, but also switchboard. The Bleep problem has been defined quite well on Google Groups, so the fact that it's a very archaic and old-fashioned technology, it takes a long time to contact people through a Bleep, waiting for a response. We decided that we wouldn't, that we'd split it and go with what the current technology is, Bleeps, and tackle the issue of how long it actually takes just to access the numbers, to get hold of the number that you need to Bleep. So you often, as a clinician, spend, or as any healthcare provider, you spend ages holding onto switchboard, trying 20 minutes just to get a number, and all doctors are doing this, and there isn't a very good repository. And what we also wanted was a frictionless uptake, so we didn't have to rely on trusts adopting this system, and it could be crowdsourced so that people could add the numbers themselves, vote up numbers, vote them down, this sort of thing. So then we thought, in an ideal world, yes, we could use the mobile device to replace the existing Bleep architecture, but we didn't. This part of the team didn't go down that route. Sean explored that as a sort of separate side project, which is really interesting, and we'll talk about later. So yeah, we just wanted an app that you can literally pull out of your pocket that's pretty much platform independent, and that you can, if the trust came on board, they would give you the seed data from their switch to load up first. If they weren't on board, which they may not be, then it would build up very quickly. So every time I call switchboard, I just put a plain text file in my phone and add the number. So this would just be a way of centralising that, and it could have really cool extendable features. So it'd be location aware. When you walk into a hospital, it's you're in Hammersmith, would you like the directory? Yes please. You could have groups, and it could have sort of relational data about how people are sort of linked to each other. And I think Malcolm's probably best to talk about how we did it, and that kind of CRM
Brilliant,
stuff.
brilliant. I wonder if you could just pass the
Sure,
this
yeah.
application around. My wife thinks I'm working, but I haven't had so much fun in years. This is really good. Everybody's contributed to this project. So what we've done is we've put all of the data in the portal. So it sits in the cloud. It's a content management system called City CRM. It's an open source content management system for maintaining details. The clinicians can directly log in and maintain their own profile settings, as well as maintain their own groups that they prefer to always to have wherever they are. So it's all totally configurable. So all that we've done, I say all, is, as well as the content management system, we've built an iPhone app to receive the data that's pertinent to that clinician's community of interest. And oh, how cool! We've also, of course, built the integration engine, which as soon as any data changes in the cloud, somebody updates their profile settings, then that data is sent to the iPhone on a call-down basis, on a pull-down basis. So it's completely synchronized, so clinicians can form their own communities. They don't have to touch the switchboard at all. It's completely independent. So you don't really have to involve the hospital at all, but I think it's probably a good idea to put in numbers, commonly used numbers for pathology, and use for pharmacy and local numbers within the hospital that you're working in. But as we mentioned earlier on, it's location aware, so those can change. But we've also, a third part of the project is, once we've provided that platform, which we built it, it integrates. We finished it at 2:30 today. It provides a platform for much more powerful workflows, which Sean's going to talk about very quickly.
Right, I'll be quick. I was working on the actual Bleep part. It's developed for an Android phone at the moment, and it would be linked to the rest of the system. So basically, when you found someone you want to Bleep, or in the future it could be a group such as a cardiology on call, you can then basically send a bleep, which in this instance is to basically a title, description, and then it's whether it's marked as urgent, which is what that tick box for at the moment. It's just a UI sort of issue. So you can simply send a bleep and be notified when you receive it.
That's really great, and I'll trust you that the sync works, although you didn't show us it.
Yes,
it does work.
absolutely, it does
Okay.
work. Yeah.
So the only thing I was wondering about is security and logins and passwords. Firstly, do you think there's any risk with anybody who's in the Hammer being able to see the names and bleep numbers of everybody there? But also, secondly, are you worried about vandalism if anybody who's in there could log in and sync the directory and then delete it or muck around?
I'll take it.
So that's actually one of the things that, there are other directory systems out there, but one of the things we wanted to take on here was, directory system is only useful if people actually use it. So we wanted to try and reduce the friction while still preserving security. So the idea is you could download this app off of the App Store, but you'd have to put in a password that might change on a monthly basis to actually see any of the listings. And that password would be handed out in the same way, in existing means of trust. There would be no extra registration. You would just talk to the people who could identify you face to face and say, all right, here's the current password to get this information.
Well, what about using the activity to track workload patterns and workload imbalances and things like that? Would that be possible? Would it be worth doing? Would there be a downside to that?
Well, I think that there's a huge potential for analytics in all of these apps. If once you get enough people using these types of applications, then you can see where the hotspots are and what numbers are constantly looked up. It's more useful in Sean's application where you're actually the bleep traffic actually would go through the app, so then you could actually analyze them, whereas now they use the old radio system.
One quick question about the bleep system. When you send a bleep to a clinician, say there's a patient waiting for you in, is there a feedback mechanism? Because one of the problems is that it'll just be like, you've got another email and you don't actually respond to it, so you've lost the patient.
Very quick. Yeah, there isn't at the moment, but that would be sort of a return receipt, which would allow you to do comments as well. Yeah.